Hey guys, welcome to Group Chat.
Hey, welcome back.
Hey, another great week. We're trying to wrap it up here, and it looks like we're fucked.
Yeah.
Unless all of your money is in Apple, you're fucked. Welcome to Group Chat. And I don't mean Apple products. We got
or an ape. Or if you have an ape.
Yep. Apples or apes, you choose.
Yeah.
We got a lot to talk about. Just general, it's the beginning of earnings time. So there's a lot going on in the stock market we're going to talk about. There is some earnings reports that we're going to talk about. A lot to go over on the Facebook front. They're having a good day today, at least. I don't know by the time you listen to this how it'll look. But, we're going to discuss what they're up to and some of their moves and, what we think as far as good moves or bad moves. We got an interview. Our good friend of the pod, Steve Patiño.
Yes.
Here to talk about Mother Earth. You may have heard of it. And how it is impacted by the footwear business and some good news there. So we always love talking to Steve.
Yep.
And then we end on winners, losers, and content recommendations as we do at the end of every week.
Can't wait.
Who's ready?
Let's get into it.
Woo!
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, Group Chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Welcome to another end of the week.
Weeks are
Where
flying.
we're headed.
Man.
We are just careening towards a recession. Who's ready? Woo!
Who's ready for the weekend and a global recession?
Who's ready? What do we got, man? I mean, we're
it's over.
stocks
guys.
are up today, but it's fucking meaningless. It just feels like we're careening. I mean, am I being too negative?
Well, no, we'll technically be in a recession because the definition is 2 negative quarters. And news came out. We shrank 1.4% last quarter. We'll shrink this quarter over quarter. I don't think that's recession sucks because people lose jobs and obviously, but for the stock market's sake, I actually think the stock market will benefit from that because it'll tame the Fed from raising rates aggressively. So obviously, selfishly, I'm in tech stocks, which are down 70-80% when rates, and that's just assuming rates are just going to keep going up. But if the Fed sees a recession, they will not raise rates as quickly. And tech stocks just move in lockstep with interest rate fears.
Yeah.
Happened in 2018, happened this year. It's happened every time because riskier assets get valued less.
So what's interesting is like economists are saying, don't panic. This is not the start of a recession. Here's the thing. Technically, we will be in a recession. There's no way this quarter we're growing.
Right.
Absolutely not. Right. With oil prices and all the other. What the economists are saying that the economy underlying is still healthy. So consumer spending is up. And so grew 4.3% in spending on services and 4.1% increase on spending on durable goods. So, and the real reason why we contracted was our imports were way up and our exports were way down. And so that's how they're looking at it, is that the actual spending isn't down. It's the fact that we relied heavily on imports and weren't able to export. I don't know what else when you read into between the lines, what that means is that we're not exporting shit. So that's a part of our contraction, that we're relying heavily on imported goods to kind of fuel our economy. And so that's the real reason why we had a decline in GDP, is because we're net negative there drastically this last 3 months.
Yeah.
But I just don't see how that changes this month. So I guess people are saying, we're not in a recession in the sense that the world is falling apart, but for the definition of recession is 2 contracting quarters consecutively.
So, I mean, I think if you read anything in the financial markets, I think universally the consensus is the American consumer is still strong. American companies are still strong. I mean, if you look at the cash flow big tech is producing, it's real. You can't debate it. And, you know, a slowdown is not the end of the world.
Yeah.
And I think we can get out of it quickly. But if the Fed gets aggressive with rate hikes, then you'll see the stock market continue to go down. And so the market was up today because Facebook reported like yesterday, and they actually missed, but they didn't have like a terrible, the analysts thought the TikTok competition and alternatives to Facebook and Instagram were going to be much more damaging this last quarter, the way it was the quarter before. So it basically wasn't as bad as people thought. So the stock had its single biggest day gain since 2013.
That's crazy.
And
yeah, that's funny. It's funny that was just on like we thought you were going to get your ass kicked more than
right.
that.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they still have 3 billion users.
Yeah.
And who's using
that
shit?
What's going on? I mean, Meta's they're just lighting money on fire, right? For like the metaverse stuff.
Yeah,
all the money's ad money, right?
Yeah, they're losing 10 to 12 billion in the AR segment, which is the Meta segment. So they're selling the Oculus below their cost.
It's a $300 price
Are you
point.
serious?
Yeah, they're selling it below cost in hopes to get so much adoption and then sell services.
I kind of wanted one the other day.
I think it's a misfire.
If it's a misfire, the company's toast. Because they're betting the whole goddamn company. They changed the name.
You can change it back. I made a mistake.
Listen. Let's take it back. Yeah, I mean, look, what do I know when it comes to the fucking metaverse, or like the future of tech? But it just, I don't know, man. It really feels to me like the metaverse thing was kind of like 3D TV, you know, where like everyone had to have it. Every TV at Best Buy said 3D capability, and just no one gave a shit. Like, I think obviously one day there's something to, you know, the metaverse thing, but I don't know, man. It just feels early. It feels early to be betting the complete farm on it.
Yeah.
But what the fuck do I know? I don't know. I mean, at this point, all they got to do is not suck as bad as people think they're going to. And, you know, they'll climb their way back. It seems like, I mean, do you think that they were at like a bottom? Like, I know it all depends, but like if you had to guess, was that deep loss they took a bottom for Facebook, and they climb out of that over the next decades?
Yeah, I mean, I think their advertising business is obviously kind of off a little, but it's still growing, like, which is fucking unbelievable. Their revenue grew 7% in the quarter, and you know, they're not as a diversified business as like an Amazon and Microsoft, where they have like a huge B2B component, right? Like, this is like they are strictly living and dying off their ad business. And the fact that it grew, I mean, they were expecting it to grow 7.8%. It grew 7%. The fact that it grew, and basically everyone has said that they're dead. It's over. If no one uses Facebook, ads don't work. They just ripped $27.91 billion.
And Pinterest beat too. Pinterest had a great earnings report.
Who the fuck is using Pinterest?
I don't know anyone who uses Pinterest, nor do you know any companies that advertise on Pinterest.
I know the only use case I have for women I know that use Pinterest is
weddings.
Wedding mood board.
Yep.
Huge. Wedding mood board business is huge.
What about interior decorating?
Yes, definitely.
So, Drama, you have a business that's leans female. Do you hear Pinterest talked about?
So I hear Pinterest talked about, like, from my marketing team, that we should be using it. And we do post some of our posts on Pinterest, which, you know, if you just look at it today, yeah, they get kind of a lot of views over there. But it's never made sense to me personally. And we've never seen any like real conversion on product. Like, even in little tests and stuff, I just think, like, yeah, it's one thing to like want to pin a "we're not really strangers" quote to your board or to your whatever, but like, I don't know. I haven't seen any traction. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but it always comes up for us because people like our quotes there, but I haven't been able to make it convert.
And then the other point, like the stock market's drunk. So I was up before 6:30. Pre-market, NASDAQ was up 2%.
Yeah.
By the time I get ready for the day, 45 minutes later, the stock market's red.
Yep.
And then after I do my workout, I look at the stock market and it's ripping.
Yeah.
That all happened within 3 hours.
Yep.
You're talking like trillions of dollars each way.
And you know, it's wild swings. And then Amazon and Apple just reported earnings.
Amazon missed on profits, but beat on revenue, and it's down 10%. So if Apple doesn't beat, you'll see the market just get crushed tomorrow.
So Apple stock Amazon stock is down $281 in after hours. Right
Yeah, it's down 10%. What is it, $1 trillion company?
1.5 trillion.
So it's $150 billion.
So how much richer is Elon Musk than Jeff Bezos?
A lot. Well, Tesla's down too now. Hit 2 down days.
Yeah, that's true. Did you see Bezos take a shot at Elon? Did you guys talk about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
What
I
an
thought that
idiot.
was weak.
That was so stupid of him, though. Like, you have so many skeletons in your closet in that topic.
Yeah, it's wild. And now that you're looking at this, so Amazon reported a loss this quarter.
Right.
Okay. The reason being is they reported $7.6 billion loss on Rivian after shares in the electric vehicle company lost more than half of their value.
Why are they investing in Rivian?
Because it's probably some weird beef on. He should have just invested in Tesla.
To
Well, also,
build
I think
out
that
their
could be
delivery
all of
trucks?
yeah, exactly. If you had Rivian delivery trucks,
Yeah,
that's
you
your-
just got to check your ego and go to Elon the GOAT and say, solve my delivery truck problem.
you got to, bro. You're the broke guy now in the room.
Yeah, he's short stick.
You got to go kiss the ring.
And so their advertising business. So this is interesting. Their advertising business was off pretty substantially from what was expected. Their AWS business was great.
That's a good sign because that means companies are still spending like crazy.
But they're lagging, right? Like you're gonna wake up like 3 months from now, like, we should cut some AWS spend.
I don't know. It powers every business. Why would you
But
spend?
if you have less traffic or less consumption, then
Right.
you will cut it, right?
maybe,
Like,
but Google had really strong cloud businesses too.
cloud's all made up.
But that's what's driving. That's what's driving Google,
No one
Microsoft,
knows
and
what the
Apple.
cloud is,
And Amazon.
It's the biggest businesses in the world.
and nobody knows what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So it sounds like the general consensus, and on it sounds like you're kind of going this way too, is like, yes, technically headed for a recession, probably not much of a way around that, but everyone seems really optimistic about this recession. This is the most positive recession I've ever heard of. Everyone's like, yeah, but like not that bad. We're fine.
Because the truth of the matter, inflation is worse than a recession. So if slowdown happens, inflation's tamed. I've talked about this like for weeks now. I think inflation's getting slayed real time. Like I think the last 3 weeks is when behavior changed for everyone across all income levels.
Yeah.
And I've heard enough anecdotal stories of people changing vacation plans, canceling trips, and just like, hey, tighten the belt a little bit. And I think that's happening across the whole like spectrum of like classes. And if that happens, that's a good thing. So these contractions and slowdown, if it tames inflation, that's actually net positive.
Yeah. It feels like the money's gone. Like it feels like there was like stimmy and there was like, it was just wild. I just my general judgment of tone, it feels like the money ran out.
Yeah.
Which in turn should, get rid of inflation.
Right. And I think inflation peaked last month, and we'll see reports at the end of the month like, hey, shit came down. I mean, it's everyone has less money. So like, how could it go up?
NFTs. You ever heard of NFTs?
Yeah, I guess Bored Apes have actually gone up 45% in the last 3 months.
That's true. That's true. What about this? Meta. Well, look, if I'm right, this is the dumbest thing Facebook has done in decades. If I'm not, then okay, great. They're genius. Facebook is opening a Meta store in the Bay Area next month. A full. I mean, what are we selling? We're selling Oculus for a loss. What are we selling in there?
We're selling Oculus
Crypto
for a loss.
kitties?
Ray-Bans
Oh God.
with their cameras in them.
I was pretty surprised. Casey Neistat, this might be outdated, so sorry to the tech people if it is, but Casey Neistat did a vlog about the Ray-Ban Facebook glasses and just destroyed them.
Really?
Like it obviously wasn't a paid partnership because he just destroyed them. Like the quality of the camera is literally unusable for anything. So, that's the advertising.
That's interesting because, like, I'm thinking about this store rollout. I'm Meta. I'm not this like ultra popular brand right now with the consumer. Shouldn't the store have been called Oculus? I feel like Oculus is a different brand than Meta. I think Oculus is a cool name. Like, why not call it something else? Or do you go to like I was thinking, like, what if you went to like the Oculus store is inside Dover Street Market. The Oculus store is inside, Bergdorf Goodman, or like whatever the hot store is in every city in the world. Yeah. You go and you open the store inside the places that already has the cutting edge consumer you want. Because I think like a standalone Burlingame store, like, I just don't. And by the way, Burlingame, like, I get it. That's where all they're based. It's in that, like, Burlingame ain't sexy.
Has there ever been a brand as big as Facebook just change their name on a dime? Facebook is top few brands ever created. Who doesn't know
Especially
what Facebook is?
Not like, you're not changing it to like book, like you literally just changed it. Yeah. Like you didn't just drop the here.
If you watch Bloomberg or CNBC, a lot of the anchors are around our age, like late 30s, early 40s. And they talk about metaverse like complete boomers. They're like, oh, are you a metamate? Like, they have no idea what metaverse is. Yeah. And he's banking the whole company on it. And they're not that old. Yeah. They're like, we're not that old.
Dude, I don't even hear people talking about metaverse anymore.
I think, like, look, the guy just was flawless for, whatever, from college to 32 or whatever. And I think he just made a bad fucking call.
Yeah. I just don't understand why, like, you could be doing this quietly. Like, Apple has its car ambition. Apple has all these ambitions, TV ambitions. Why don't you just continue to work on it and instead, like, give us the For You TikTok page and Reels. That's it. That's all you got to nail.
For real.
I was on Reels last night.
Stupid pages on my feed.
I just get the weirdest recommendations on Reels. Like, I just don't get, like, 1 minute, like, I'm watching, like a fashion thing because I follow a bunch of fashion accounts. Yeah. Next thing you know I'm getting, like, a food thing. I don't want to see food. I think food's disgusting. That's the last thing I want to see on my social media page. Why are you showing me some, like, cooking?
I get it on my main feed now. My main feed is literally like 3 people I follow and then one like dog on a hunting trip. It's just like, what the fuck even is this? Like, who do you think I am? Like TikTok knows exactly
is like, he's white, he's from Ohio. He must like dogs and hunting.
Dog, Carhartt. Yeah, I like literally TikTok knows who I am better than I know who I am. And Instagram thinks I'm somebody completely different.
TikTok's algorithm is so freaking good. It's so easy to just like spend endless amounts of time. I have to stop myself. I'm like, I got to get off this.
Yes. I delete it off my phone. It's literally like, it's truly addicting. The other thing that I noticed is I went to download Instagram the other day, and
what do you mean you're not on Instagram?
I don't keep those things on my phone.
So how do you?
I download them to go on them.
Oh, you delete them, and so if you have an itch, you got to download. It's so much friction.
If I'm feeling the itch, I download. I spend my social media time, and then I delete them for.
That's like the crackhead who can't get crack in his city. He's driving to
I got a problem, guys. I need help. This is a cry for help. But I went to try to download Instagram, and it wasn't even like it was like number 17 on top free apps. Wow. You know, it was like way back, but. Yeah, TikTok, I just don't get how you've been around this long being Facebook and Instagram and you got like smoked so quickly just in your recommendation algorithm. Like you just got blown out of the water. Theirs is so bad.
His bet is TikTok eventually gets banned in the US.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, like, if you're making that bet, shouldn't you be like spending the downtime making your product as good as humanly possible? It literally feels like he was like, you know what? I have all this like Cambridge Analytica, all this pressure, all this lack of trust. I'm just going to bail on that, switch the name, let the ad team, you know, keep selling ads, and everyone's going to forget about it because everyone's going to love Meta.
Yeah.
And instead, it's like, what the fuck is a Meta? And like, why are you recommending me?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think when I think about like everything happening in that world, I actually don't, I'm not like complete naysayer that it's never going to happen. I actually do believe we'll get to that point. I just don't think we're anywhere near it.
No,
like,
that's what I think.
Like when you look at like the fundraising announcements for Web3 companies, $50 million seed round. We know that those guys are doing no business.
Yeah, none.
None of them.
Not even business in sight.
Most of them don't even have products.
Yeah.
It's all on the promise.
Yeah. It's in the meta.
Yeah.
It's all in the meta. Yeah, it feels, look, whatever, fuck it. I'll make the bold statement. I think it's the biggest mistake the Zucks has ever made.
Wow.
And I think they end up having to like sort of unravel it to a degree. Like it does become a department inside of Facebook, and Facebook has to get back to like getting the P&L a little more adjusted.
Facebook should have started a cloud business. That was
right.
That's why I kind of like. I like this device that Snapchat's launching called Pixie. It's a flying camera.
But don't you think like this was my complaint is there's so many drone options that shoot such good video. Why would you buy this little Pixie?
Because it's Snapchat. It just feels different. Like I would never buy a drone, but maybe I buy a Pixie.
They missed on glasses, so there's no confidence that they're gonna.
That's what it
hit
feels
on
like to me.
Yo, hardware.
I agree, but I like it that it's so off the beaten path that like it's just interesting conversation at least.
Do people even use drones anymore? Or the cities have just banned them, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think people still use them for like, you know, their whatever they do. They're
like a wedding or something like that.
Yeah.
It's $229. It's available as of today in the US and France.
Why don't you buy one?
Yeah, buy one.
You know, when I looked at the CPI, inflation, gas prices.
After that Haagen-Dazs, huh?
Haagen-Dazs
or Pixie.
30% of my GDP is going to Haagen-Dazs. So.
I just like, are you really going to carry this stupid thing around, lift it off, take a photo in front of the Santa Monica Pier, snatch it out of the air and stuff it back in your bag? I don't know.
Like how high does this camera go? Fly?
I mean, my guess is most people who buy Pixies lose them within 7 days.
Yeah, I think this is a big miss.
I mean, if it's just a marketing stunt, then okay.
I think it's a marketing stunt. I mean, to your point, the drones already exist. Why? I don't know why you would need this if you just.
And
if it's marketing, it's great.
And drones kind of got neutered. Other than like professional use cases, you can't use them if you're just the average consumer.
Yeah. Also, by the way, like we don't need like shit flying everywhere.
It's also that all these images of people using it, their arm is already at the distance that you would just take a selfie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the photo would look exactly like you took a selfie, except you'd have this stupid thing like buzzing in your face.
Maybe it's for people with short arms.
That might be a big
arm challenged.
A big TAM. I also saw an article that Spiegel, I guess kind of in a shot to Zuckerberg said, like, we don't even say the word metaverse in the Snapchat offices.
Wow.
What does that mean?
It means everything that we just said, which is like, yeah, it's something, but it's so far off, we don't focus on it.
Oh, got it. He's just saying metaverse, the concept is
stupid.
Correct.
Got it.
He's taking the other side.
So
one's switching the whole company name and saying this is today, and the next one's like, we'll figure it out when it comes.
that's a good face-off because Spiegel rejected Zuck's offer and ended up being right.
Not only that, but it rejected Zuck's offer, got made fun of, sort of like got his stuff stolen. He went through it. Like, he really battled through. I thought they were done for sure.
Yeah,
now it's like everyone has a fucking snap streak that they can't break, apparently, whatever that is.
And a pixie.
And a goddamn pixie. What if you just see pixies flying up and
It
down?
just explodes. Everyone's like, did you get the new latest pixie?
While we're bashing on companies, Robinhood released earnings. It's not pretty. Another 8% user decline. Missed on everything.
Missed our revenue by $60 million. Jeez.
I mean, at what point do I pull my money out?
Look at this. This is nuts. Robinhood reported that its monthly active users declined to 15.9 million, down from 17.7 a year ago and 17.3 the previous quarter. The average revenue per user came in at $53, down from $137. This is horrendous.
You know what I don't get is like
net revenue was down 43% year over year. This stock should go to zero.
Wow.
We should get our money out of that place.
I know, right? It feels a little sketchy.
Yeah.
What I don't get is like, I would say that the idea of like retail trading is, is more like normal than ever. So where are people going? Like,
they're not trading. I don't think they are.
Well, young people aren't trading because when things only go down,
yeah,
for the last 4 months,
down and to the right.
Yeah. Yeah, so you just think like the retail trading thing maybe got a little ahead of itself during COVID. Stimmy,
and also the money is gone.
Go up.
I saw a thing that said retail traders lost like how much? I think $1 billion trading options last year.
I mean, think about all the different factors. You have the stock market go down straight down for 4 straight months, which we haven't seen for a long time. And it only went up during the pandemic. Everything's open across the country. Schools are back. Colleges are in session. People are partying. People are out. People are at the beach. When do you have time to be Davy Day trader?
Yeah, plus you got to pay for gas.
Mom and pop traders managed to lose more than $1 billion during the biggest bull market during the pandemic trading options. The bill climbs to $5 billion when the cost of doing business with market makers factored in. Everyone just got cream trading options.
Yeah, think about if this was your first exposure to the stock market, which is most Robinhood customers, and you were trading options, you lost.
Yeah.
No one wins on options.
Options guaranteed loss.
Yeah.
It's like FanDuel. Like no one wins in FanDuel.
Hey, I won a FanDuel.
I feel like Dee's announced like 3 options in the history of this pod, and they've all lost.
Yeah, exactly. They're losers.
You just can't win.
You can't win.
It's an unwinnable game. I feel like we just lived in fucking fantasy land the last 2 years. Like the mixture of COVID and everyone stuck inside and Stimmy. I mean, we joked about it. It's not like we didn't know it, but it was like everyone quitting their jobs. Everyone's a rich day trader. Everyone's getting NFTs. Everyone's blah, blah, blah. Like it was fantasy land.
It was all like the stock market was completely manipulated by the Fed. I said this on the last pod. The win, which I talked about a lot because I was shorting the shit out of it and kept losing money. I was like, hey, the casino's not open. The company shouldn't be doing well.
Pretty much 1 + 1 = 2 stuff.
There's no like scientific math I had to do. Like, hey, was the door locked?
Yeah.
Like, how are you generating revenue? It's trading below today than when it was open 3 days a week in summer of 2020. The Win is open 7 days a week with international travel, everything, and it's trading below when it was closed.
All right. Apple just reported earnings.
What do we got?
Fucking crushed it.
Boom!
I knew it.
Needed that one.
Untouchable.
Revenue was expected to be at $93.8 billion. Comes in at $97 billion. They're casual $4 billion more. Who the fuck is buying all this stuff? I think everyone else cut their spend on everything, but Apple, you got to spend the money.
That's great.
Yeah, you can't not have an Apple. That's where you draw the line.
Stock
you can
is
live
booming.
in a shitty apartment. You can walk to work. You got to have an iPhone.
Yeah. So
Or
we're going to
a
have to now
watch.
see how they
Yeah.
forecast out the rest of the year. But man, Warren Buffett keeps just sipping his Dr. Pepper and McDonald's, just making money left and right.
But you know what's also good is we made fun of the stock market throughout the pandemic because none of it made sense and it was only going up. We were right. It didn't make sense.
Yeah. It feels good to know we were
But we didn't
right.
make any money off it. We should have been shorting it the whole time.
You're right.
That,
just
we would have
talked
lost
shit.
so much money.
But you gotta have a big stomach.
a big balance sheet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, at least we were right. I mean, we didn't profit off of it, but we were right. I'm sure some of our listeners did, maybe two. What about another thing that was just, like I said, was absurd was everyone was quitting their jobs. We even had a really good one. This was true, accurate, where some people were just quitting their jobs because they were like professional NFT traders, but some people were actually having like 3 jobs at the same time because they were working from home and, there's no one there to really check your work. You work an hour a day on each company, spend the rest day trading, and that's, business in 2020. There's this continuing thing happening. I mean, I think more and more offices are trying to get people back to the office. COVID feels very much past. I don't see why you wouldn't be thinking about getting back to the office, but 64% of workers say that they would consider quitting their jobs if they were asked to return to the office full time.
So here's an interesting stat. So this company called Castle with a K tracks key card swipes in thousands of commercial buildings.
Oh.
It shows that offices in the US, 10 largest cities, are about 40% occupied, which is up 15% from a year earlier. So, April was the month that these big companies were supposed to go back to work. So we'll see what happens. I'd love to see that stat in 3 to 6 months. I believe the main reason people don't want to go back to work is then the side hustles get cut. Not that they don't want to go back to the office. I honestly think it's just because of side hustles. If I was Google, I'd be like, all right, everyone's allowed to have a second job. Up to 20 hours a week.
2 hours of
You don't think
streaming time.
people would rather be at Earth Cafe or Soho House fake working than be in the office?
Well,
That's
Soho
what's going
House,
on
even
now.
on the fake working, has clamped down. There's only this very small section now where you have to have you're allowed to have your laptop even out.
Oh, that's good.
I like that. I would ban it altogether if it was me.
Yeah, the laptop and 1 tea for 5 hours.
Yeah, that's
That's-
not.
that
We
was-
know
they
who
have
you are. We know who you are.
They have
The
a
one
work
T.
thing too, I think. They have
Yeah, they want
work-
you to sign up for that,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
fine, which is great. Go make money off that. But sometimes you go there and can't even get a spot because someone's building the next Facebook. It's so just coding away.
More like building the next Raya.
You know what I think of is that the monkey that types with his fingers really loud and aggressively. Have you
Yeah.
ever seen that?
That's all the
meme?
people in Soho.
Yeah.
Oh, I also heard someone in the financial service industry telling me that FINRA, which is the regulator that regulates all these banks and stuff, the work from home for like investment bankers, private wealth managers, if you think about it, so much confidential and private information is compromised.
Yeah.
What if Steve's over look at how much Bill Gates has in his bank
true.
account?
What's
Yeah.
Billy got?
There's probably so much of that.
Oh my God, that is scary.
And so they may mandate these types of companies to be back in the office where, things are more secure.
Yeah, people are just like, what? Apple's buying what?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Think about
yeah,
that.
you're
You're just, you finish your workout and you come over to investment banker friend and you know so much confidential
Yeah,
information.
do a little insider trading.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's also just a large, we always talk about side hustles and stuff because that's our world and our listeners and all that stuff. I think there's a large portion of people that just had it really fucking easy for the last couple of years. Easy meaning not easy it was stressful and COVID and all that stuff, totally. But if you're walking around your house in sweats, you got your favorite TV show on in the background, you're taking a break, you're playing with your dog, you have a friend come over while you're working, it's a big jump from that to sitting in an office chair with an hour break with a manager breathing over your shoulder. It's such a big difference.
Yeah, Dee went over to one of my friends' houses in San Francisco. He's CEO of a pretty big company, and he's just chipping golf balls while he's on a call.
I was like, man, I want to be a tech CEO.
I do that too. Look at this. Look at this.
Oh, you have the same setup. Oh my God. Are you just chucking them off your balcony into the street?
Yeah.
So Drama's
Those are
just golfing all day.
Those are my foam golf balls. I've gotten really good at golf over the last year.
Golf
Made a
is
lot
the
of
big
progress.
COVID winner. Everyone's playing golf, at least in my age group.
Yeah, golf was huge.
Everyone's
for
playing
COVID.
golf. Yeah, everyone's playing golf.
All right. Well, I mean, that's the rundown. We got an interview.
We've got a great interview with our good friend Steve Patiño. We're talking about Earth Month.
Oh,
You will
I
be
love the Earth.
shocked when you hear what these footwear companies are doing. Just, casually destroying the planet.
cancel them. Name them.
Nike.
Make a list. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Earth and some footwear with our good pal Steve Patiño.
All right. All right. Before we head into winners, losers content, we have our special guest for today, my man, Sneaker Steve Patiño. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy to be back.
So, we wanted to bring you on for a couple of reasons. One is it's Earth Month. So we used to celebrate an Earth Day. Now it's got a whole month. I mean, given what we're seeing on Earth, it seems like we should have it all year.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you guys saw this yesterday. California is cutting water usage, and they're like telling you should only water your lawn once a week.
And they're also saying on the radio, I was driving, that like between 4 and 9 p.m., like turn off your AC.
Yeah. So, I mean, clearly we've known that all of these things related to climate change and the environmental impacts, we've known about these things for 50 years. It's not like
It didn't sneak up on us.
it didn't sneak up on us. Exactly. And so given where we're at today, there needs to be radical changes in the way we live in order for us to kind of move forward. And one of the things that like we talk about obviously is Elon Musk and Tesla. And I think the most fascinating thing about him is that when you look at a lot of the problems he's solving for, they're so directly environmentally impactful, right? Whether it's Tesla, SpaceX, Boring Company, they clearly all have a net positive for humanity. When we think about the manufacturing industry, we talk a lot about Shein and the fast fashion kind of phenomenon. And then you read about Gen Z's grave concern for sustainability. Unfortunately, their consumption habits don't reflect that impact. And I think one of the things we want to talk about today was like, you've launched the world's first ever sustainable clog, a shoe, period. And one of the things you figured out is called closed loop manufacturing. And I definitely want to walk through that. But before we even get into that, what is happening today in the footwear industry when it comes to like just the impact on our environment?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest is that 20 billion pairs of shoes are made a year. And footwear, unfortunately, is one of the most harmful to the environment because of all of the added toxins and the glue and the materials that it needs to make.
20 billion? There's not even 20 billion people.
So you can imagine how big the industry is, how many shoes are being made.
What was Tom's about?
Tom's about give one, basically, buy
Yeah, but
one,
if
get
there's
one.
20 billion shoes, there's more than enough shoes for everyone.
Yeah.
Maybe Tom's is a fraud.
Yeah, I'm calling bullshit on Tom's.
Yeah, it's and honestly, like what we're seeing is that also when you dive deeper into the impact, right? So what does that actually mean when you look at it? So that means that trillions of water, liters of water is being wasted just to make shoes. It takes 8,000 liters of water to make one shoe.
And where's the water used in this process?
It's mostly in the tanning and the color. So when you look at the materials, it's basically they need that to be able to create colors and differentiation for materials or leather. And that water is just dumped and wasted. And all of that goes into unfortunately, into a lot of areas where it goes into drinking water. And so when we started to do the research, we found out first we were looking at, okay, let's quantify what's happening, right? But when you dive deeper into the impact, you know that this is actually going into our water. So right now in America alone, 300 million pairs of shoes go into landfill every single year.
Wow.
Now, what's happening is because the levels of our landfills are at such high capacity, that actually, those toxins are going into our water. So we're all sitting here as parents, right?
I'm just drinking foot water every day.
And all of that is going into our water stream. So when you look at what's happening in the world, it's further than just, okay, what's happening to the planet, it's happening to humans and the environment as well. So this is a massive problem.
Maybe D's ahead of the curve with the tequila diet.
Yeah. Let me tell you, my shit's 100% pure agave. I'm not putting those toxins in water in my body. Fuck all the poison. Everyone's like, oh, alcohol is bad for you. How about water?
Yeah.
Water's killing our people. Because especially when you think about, you know, one of the things I'm always so fascinated about, like human health, obviously there's all the things as a society we're unhealthier, whether it be obesity, eating habits, sleep, depression. But like, for whatever reason, if you look at, there's a really interesting article talking about people in the 60s and their eating habits and then today's eating habits. Except for like increased in alcohol and some of these other things, it's actually more about like the way these things are made.
Mm-hmm.
And what you don't realize is like toxins in your drinking water, like that's at the school water fountain, right? Like when you're in the park drinking water or whatever. And we don't realize all these impactful things that are happening because of the way we decided to go about manufacturing a pair of shoes or whatever, all these different things. So when you think about like, obviously this is, you're ultra focused on the footwear industry, right? Obviously the brands are aware.
Yeah. And the thing is that honestly, a lot of brands don't care, right? And, you know,
Nike.
I always think about when we're doing the research and I'm meeting with our suppliers and our vendors and looking at how do we create the best business model for the world and for future generations, they say to me, well, Steve, we're so happy that you're thinking this way. And my first reaction is like, what? There's not like a line of us that are thinking this way?
Yeah. Because you're one person, brand new brand, last couple of years.
Small startup company. Yeah. And we're just like, there's no way. And there's many companies out there that are doing good and we want to be a part of that. But at the same time, the majority is not. Yeah. You know, like another massive stat is that footwear industry causes 1.4% of greenhouse gas emission in the world. Just to put it in perspective, complete airline is 2.3.
Oh my God.
Staggering statistic.
And no one's talking about it.
No one's talking about it.
Damn.
Group chat is.
I'd rather just...
Yeah, I mean, think about...
Fire up your PJ with no shoes.
Maybe Adam Newman was ahead too.
Adam Newman is
no shoes.
No shoes.
No shoes. No, but I mean, I'm curious. I don't know the stat, but what's the Impossible Meat and Beyond Meat? Climate change is a big portion of their mission. I'm curious, like apples to apples, which is the bigger pollutant?
Well, meat is 70% of the world's.
Okay, that's a big problem.
So you got to be a vegan and wear Alice Gray.
Yes,
that's it.
And so, you know, you're obviously launching this brand and you're getting an incredible response. When you talk to retailers and you talk to partners, what's their feedback? Like, do they at the end of the day, like, is the best way to win people over is with great products that regardless of what it stands for, people want? Or is it like there's actually like, no, we have to carry sustainable products?
We've seen both, right? And what we're noticing is that there's different buyers, right? And I won't mention the names of the buyers, but there's a lot of the biggest buyers in the country that are tired of the greenwashing. They're just like, fuck this bullshit. We don't want this anymore. The greatest thing about our product is that we are globally recycle standard certified. So with this third party auditing service that certifies our product by being 51% post-recycle and looking at the entire full cycle of the product creation process, that gives us an edge over other brands because you can't talk your way through it.
Yeah.
It's either you're certified or you're not.
Yeah.
Us launching the world's first recycled clog that's also sustainably certified is incredible. And the retailers are really excited about it. And in terms of the customer, the use cases are so great. I mean, you guys all have the clogs yourself. They're waterproof. They're lightweight. They're functional. They're ergonomic. You can wear them. They're washable, right? They take 0 water waste to make. So there's so many, we're solving such a huge substack of problems in our product for the consumer, for the environment, and for the retailers that it's really why we're winning, because we've looked at, from a holistic standpoint, 360, the entire business model and how to create a closed loop manufacturing process for a better planet.
So closed loop, that's a very fancy word people are using, but closed loop means that you buy the shoe, no, you make the shoe, you buy the shoe, you wear the shoe, you return the shoe.
Exactly.
Most people you toss the shoe.
Correct.
So what's the vision for that? You are going to take back the worn shoe, and what are you going to do with it?
Correct. So then that goes back to our facilities globally. So we have a very, very dynamic global business model where we're able to take back the shoes within each region of the world where they're shipped. And then those shoes are then recycled and then be able to be reused as well. And making sure that you have a property in terms of the material that you're using that actually is recyclable. So this shoe is recycled and recyclable.
Got it. Because that's a key part of it. And so what you're doing is you're incentivizing the customer that you return these shoes. We'll give you a credit for your next purchase.
Sure, which
So
we're calling it an Earth credit.
Earth credit. Oh, amazing. Hot marketing. Earth credit.
Yeah, love it.
And so you have a big launch.
So that's what we're here to talk about.
Yeah.
Earth Month. Our huge launch with one of the biggest retailers in the country, Nordstrom.
Wow.
Ooh-wee.
It's fire.
Yeah, so we're so excited. Nordstrom.com. Product is online right now. Also Nordstrom in-store. I'll be traveling across the country. So if any of the Kathys are out there, we would love to see you. I'm going in-store, traveling all up and down the coast from Seattle to Palo Alto. We'll be in the Bay Area, all NorCal, SoCal, Arizona, Texas.
Yeah.
So we're really excited. And
You're going to all those places?
Yeah.
We're going on
we
tour.
were talking about it. It's like old school. Like, I still believe, look, you can build an incredible brand digitally, but I think when you have a transformational product, it's hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, I think it's similar. It's in food too. Like you go to Erewhon or Whole Foods.
Oh yeah, there's so many brands I've discovered just walking by. I'm like, oh
yeah, they give you the sample.
Yeah, and then you meet the founder, and you're like, this almond butter is pretty good. And next thing you know, you're completely like.
When are you at the Nordstrom Grove?
So next week.
Okay, that's the one I did.
I knew that already. Yeah. Anything I tag Nordstrom Grove, it goes right to Anand.
And so you have an interesting offer for Kathys if you go and support the clog at Nordstrom.
Of course. So I'm putting pressure not only on the environment and the world, but we're also doing it for all the other brands. So we're going to give 50% off.
Okay.
So it's the world's first recycled clog. We also want it to be the world's first, the highest discount code. So for all the Kathys listening. And thank you to all the Kathys, because we wouldn't be here without you. You've been a part of us, and actually some of the people that we work with currently now are Kathys. So the Kathy community is incredible in our support. So what we want to do is, the product is live on Nordstrom.com now. You can go on Nordstrom's website, purchase the product. For any Kathy that purchases the product, they could send us a screenshot at the Alesgrey page, ALESGREY page. If you send us a screenshot of your purchase, we'll send you a free shoe. So that accounts to 50% off. That means that you're only spending $44 on the world's first recycled clog. You can share it for yourself. They're unisex sizing, comes in men's and women's. Mother's Day is right around the corner. Father's Day is right behind that. It's Earth Month. It's the right thing in taking a step forward for a better planet.
That's amazing. And then in-store locations all over the West Coast, middle of the country. So look out. I think next week it'll be rolled out in physical stores.
Exactly. And we're doing that for the first 50 Kathys to buy.
Okay, great.
So 50 off for 50 Kathys. You can go to Nordstrom, you'll buy them full price on Nordstrom's website, and then we'll send us a screenshot on Alesgrey
with your
DM
address.
our Instagram and our address, and we'll send you a pair for free.
That's amazing. Well, there you go, Kathy's incredible offer to get. You're trying to save 50% on Bay's birthday gift. I got us matching shoes.
I mean, no one can afford pumping gas, so any chance you get a discount,
yeah,
take advantage.
I know, $44 for a pair of shoes. That's amazing. Congratulations, Steve. Obviously, very excited to see the launch, and I think the more exciting thing is that like what you're doing obviously is beneficial just for humanity in terms of the way we should be rethinking manufacturing. And I think the other exciting thing is touching on it, I think will be a good parting piece, is injection mold manufacturing. We believe is the future. Anyone who makes anything has probably experienced enormous amount of pain the last 2-3 years, especially if you're making things overseas. And so living in America, the conversation is that how do you bring manufacturing back to America? And the challenge with that is to make a pair of shoes, to make a pair of jeans requires 50 steps, sourcing material from all these different parts. Injection mold manufacturing changes that. How long does it take to make a pair of Alice Gray shoes?
9 minutes.
9 minutes,
Wow.
no water waste. That's fucking revolutionary. You can do that in America because it's not labor intensive.
Exactly. And technology has allowed us to take this next leap in terms of what we call a re-economy or a circular economy. And the most exciting part is that we are in the forefront. Alice Gray is a foot tech company focused on creating a better planet through circular manufacturing. And for not only for the planet now, but for future generations. Alice Gray is also named after my son, Grayson Alessandro. So it's a tribute to how I envision companies and creating a new customer journey for the future.
Incredible, Steve.
It's
Incredible
awesome,
work.
Steve.
Thank you,
Great
guys.
work. Congratulations.
Woo! Head on over to Nordstrom.com or Nordstrom stores. Alice Gray, ALESGREY on Instagram. And if you don't buy this, you're a terrible human being and ruining the planet.
Yep.
All right, let's go to winners, losers, and content. And guess who is a loser if you don't buy these shoes?
And we're back. We got to save the earth, man.
Yeah, otherwise
We only get one, or unless Elon figures it out. What's going to happen first? Big shoe is going to ruin the earth, or we're going to get to Mars?
Mars.
Okay.
People love Mars.
Yeah, we're big on Mars.
Mars is hot.
Yeah. Okay. You guys want to do some winners, losers, and content?
Yep.
Dee, who's your winner for the last week? Biggest winner?
It's Elon Musk.
Yeah.
He
that's
bought
fair.
Twitter. He made it
He did it.
happen. I know everyone wants to, has their comment on him and what he represents, stands for, whatever it is. But man,
I can't believe he actually. I mean, if you really take a step back and just are like, wait a minute. Like, this was a joke. This was like it started from like a tweet or like a poll of, on Twitter. And then the guy literally bought Twitter.
yeah.
And it's not like, no shit moment, but like, it's not like he has a bank account with 300 billion cash. Like, he had to figure out how to buy it, figure out how to make it work, go to war with the board. And he did it.
And he did it in a week.
He did it in a fucking week. This guy is
Yeah.
nuts. I just love now. I just went on Twitter a minute ago, and it's just like he is going so hard with the like, Twitter should do this. Twitter DMs should be encrypted like Signal. Twitter should this, and like people are eating it up.
And I love people squirming about how mad they are about Elon owning Twitter. I find that segment really funny.
It's really exposing. I'll just
People
jump.
leaving. What are you doing?
What?
Like people leaving Twitter.
Oh, no,
I'm
they're
done. I'm left. I mean,
Those are the same people that were leaving the country when Trump.
yeah. Like, where are you going? There's nowhere to
They're
go.
gonna go over to Truth Social.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, in fact, like if you are a believer that, and most people are in this country, of like free speech and an open platform, like the idea is even the end-to-end encryption he suggested on the messaging of Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
why isn't that done? There's been very few product kind of innovation on Twitter, considering like how old the platform is.
There's been
It's very
none.
much similar. Like they added spaces, They doubled the characters. Yeah.
I think it's hilarious that Jack Dorsey, where all of this was done under Jack Dorsey, he's only been gone 6 months and he's taking a victory lap with Elon. Like, yeah, we're going to fix it. It's like, you made all the mistakes.
Yeah, that's true. But he knows when to hop back in. He went to fucking Africa and worked on Bitcoin for 6 months. It was like, all right, we're back.
He's like D with sports teams.
Yeah, you just got to hop on.
It's smart. It works. It totally works. And he just caught a big old check. So whatever. I just, because it's on the same topic, I'll just jump to my loser is Twitter, because I think that I don't know what really happened, and I never will, but like the funny business that it looks like they were doing with like throttling accounts and stuff, we're seeing like all these right-wing accounts are like getting all these followers out of nowhere, and there's just like all this stuff happening where I feel like I don't know, man. I feel like the Twitter culture, when it comes to like being ultra left, might have been way worse than we thought, and might have actually been like a little crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
think
now you're about
once
to get shaken up.
once we get under the hood of how the algorithm was working when Elon takes over, I think it's going to create chaos.
Yeah. Because have you seen the kind of thought is that all of these accounts, like the Ben Shapiro's of the world and Joe Rogan, and are like gaining followers out of nowhere really, really quick, like as of like two days ago. And the theory is that they have sort of these like throttling things in their algorithm that they're taking off so that they don't get exposed of what they were actually doing. So I feel like most of it we probably won't even know, but I just feel like, I just feel like they look like a bunch of losers at the moment. So they're my loser. Anand, who's your winner?
My winner is a Kathy who DM'd us. Keep the name anonymous. No idea if he wants to be exposed, but he might be a loser depending on your take on the metaverse. He'd never heard of the metaverse. He didn't really follow crypto until group chat and heard us talk about it so much and went and joined as an early employee at Yuga Labs, which is the company behind Bored Ape Yacht Club. Nice. It's only a year old, and Andreessen Horowitz a few months ago gave them $450 million at a $4 billion valuation.
Jesus.
So he's my winner because he was proactive, but if you hate the metaverse, he's a loser.
True. Well, listen, either way, that guy's a winner. I don't give a shit what happens.
No, I thought it was really cool. And all jokes aside, that we actually maybe we need to watch what we say. We actually impacted his career.
I know. It's so
he's chilling. ApeCoin's up double.
Yeah, ApeCoin is a $5.5 billion market cap, which is bigger than every DeFi protocol.
People love these apes.
Yeah,
apes are a phenomenon.
They're here to stay. I don't think those couple key things are getting messed up.
Mm-hmm. They're too good.
Yeah. Okay. My winner's Johnny Depp.
Wow.
The guy's in court. It's the best role he's had in decades. I mean,
I haven't watched the clips.
It is fucking fantastic.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's blockbuster.
It's big on TikTok also. And look, I don't know who's guilty. I don't know who's going to be found guilty. I don't know any of that. So I'm not saying any of that. But I will say that in the court of public opinion, Johnny Depp is smashing grand slam after grand slam. He's just being Johnny Depp. I mean, he's a movie star. He's obviously very charismatic. And the little responses to the legal team and the way he's kind of laughing at, everything's an objection, everything's hearsay, it's just Johnny Depp being Johnny Depp in a courtroom, and he's really found his groove, and he is crushing the court of public opinion. And people are now starting to make videos, which I don't know if this is right, about like how Amber Heard is actually the face of toxic femininity, and we don't talk about that, and blah blah blah. And so he's just look, hopefully he actually is innocent, and hopefully if he is, he's found innocent. But when it comes to entertainment value, if I was ever in a legal battle with a comedian or a movie star, I would do anything I could not to have the footage be public.
That's interesting.
What you're describing is, I imagine, the scenes from Social Network where Zuck was just a dick to the lawyers talking shit. Is that what's going on?
It's the difference in that is that he's being a dick to the lawyers like that, except for in a very likable way. Like the lawyer will read something embarrassing about him, and he'll read like a text that he said. and he'll read it again, and he'll say, "Did I read that right?" And
Right.
Johnny will say, "You read that very, very well." And like like the audience laughs, like in the courtroom, like it's just really funny. Yeah, it's good content. Hop on Twitter, type in Johnny Depp, and there's a lot there.
That's amazing.
Or TikTok. Okay, D, who's your loser?
My loser is Robinhood. We've talked a lot about it during the GameStop thing. Like a lot of the things that we felt were pretty horrendous on how they handled the situation, and I honestly was convinced they would remove the guy as CEO, but they didn't. But like I think obviously there's like a problem in terms of just loss of interest in trading stocks, but I think there's also like a brand issue with Robinhood that like needs to be fixed in order to actually fix the company. And I think it's time to bring in an Indian CEO.
I agree. It's time. Every tech company hits its time, and this is your time.
Yeah.
They should airdrop an NFT to all the users because everyone lost money.
Airdrop an Indian.
Okay.
An Indian NFT. I think that they were probably kind of screwed anyway, but it just really doesn't help when your brand sentiment is that bad. He just handled that stuff so poorly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agree.
Great. Anand, who's your loser?
My loser is Bill Wang, who is the guy behind Archegos, the hedge fund that imploded in the span of 2 days and lost, I think, like over $20 billion in those 2 days and could have lost a lot more. And he was arrested yesterday, and he was released on a $100 million bond. The one thing I don't get is the banks are claiming he lied about how much he was exposed to the other banks. Mm-hmm. And they're screaming foul and saying like, we didn't know, he duped us. But isn't that the bank's job to do the diligence to know, hey, how much credit does this guy have on Wall Street? I don't get how the banks can scream foul. Like,
unless he falsified documents.
Yeah, I guess if you falsified documents.
I don't even think that's what's happening though. Like, in the scene in We Crashed where Adam Newman is meeting with Jamie Dimon and he's asking for $50 million of credit, and Jamie
Isn't
Dimon
it like
goes,
400 million?
What starts at 50,
and
Jamie Dimon goes, "You don't need 50 million. You need 100 million."
That's probably what happened.
Literally, that's what I'm saying. Like, people think these people are doing like some scientific research. They're just literally like, you know what? Fuck it. Here's $100 million.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if that's what it was,
a big like underwriting going.
Yeah, but what could you forge? Like, can't you just call Wells Fargo? Hey, how much money does this guy have?
Yeah.
No, they would never do that.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I don't get. I mean, if they didn't, at what point do they take some of that responsibility?
Yeah, that's where, I mean, he's pleading not guilty, and his lawyers are pretty, obviously, because that's their job. But, I mean, it is fraud, for sure, because he did dupe them, so there is a crime here.
Yeah.
But the banks are at fault.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I have trouble with that, too. I saw a bunch of people talking about that online, and I was stumped as well.
Yeah,
because it just reeks of like they didn't do any diligence or I don't know.
And think about like a middle class person to get a $200,000 mortgage. They go through crazy scrutiny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're not duping them. Falsifying
and this
your
guy's
Robinhood.
had 160 billion of exposure, fake juking out the banks.
Yeah. I can't wait to see. I mean, we're going to find out, but
it's going to be a great Netflix or Apple TV. I think Apple TV should do this content.
Please, because they have proven to do it better than the others. We crashed.
Jared Leto should play him.
Yeah.
He should play.
Jared Leto should just play everyone.
Yeah.
Just fatten him up, thin him down, let him play everyone. Yeah. Okay, my loser was Twitter. What about content? D, what content should everyone watch this weekend?
I haven't been really watching any TV, so I don't have any content, but Anand sent me a podcast about kind of teen I guess depression in American teens over the last 10 years. and I'm halfway through it. It's pretty interesting. It talks about like obviously the impact of social media and kind of that piece, but it also talks about like the guy wrote a book, I think, The Coddling of America. So it's about like parents,
Jonathan Haidt,
and the way they what'd you say?
Is it Jonathan Haidt?
It might have been.
It's an incredible book.
Got it. And it talks about like also how the parenting styles may have an impact on why kids are acting the way they act.
Remember I told you guys a long time ago, and it sounded absurd. It was right after I read that book, but that a lot of this started because America's Most Wanted and those type of shows blew up around the time that the now parents were younger, and that's what they were watching. And so the world seemed so scary, even though kidnappings and child abuse and all that stuff is way down.
Yeah.
It created this generation of parents that wanted to like over coddle because they thought that every kid out there is just getting kidnapped. I mean, kids don't go like for bike rides anymore, you know, like young kids. Yep. I'm going to go ride to the park. I'm going to go whatever. And yeah, it has a real effect.
Yeah. So it was my content as well. And just for people who want to find it, the podcast is called Plain English. It's by Derek Thompson of The Atlantic. He's a famous writer that talks about current events. And it is Jonathan Haidt who's on the podcast. So some of the other tidbits, if you're not going to listen, is that America's prosperity led to people having fewer kids because you'd have people having kids later because both parents are working. And I thought it was super interesting that he basically says Americans are the worst parents in the world. Like if you look at the results of this last generation of teenagers, and the reasoning is, you know, when you have 4 or 5 kids, and he points to over involvement of parents in their kids' development in life that causes kids to basically be coddled. So like they don't get bullied. And if you think about all the parents we know, every parent I know is super involved. And are we replaying what didn't work?
Because you think that's the right thing to do as a parent. And I mean, I couldn't imagine like living in the valley and having a kid and saying like at 12 and saying, yeah, go ride your bike around the neighborhood. I mean, it seems crazy, but
you know what's crazy is like, I'm just thinking back to our childhood. The Northridge earthquake was 94, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So we're 11 and 14. And 3 days after the earthquake, I think we had just gotten out of like sleeping in tents because we're waiting for like structural damage to be checked by the city. And then stores started reopening and we went to the baseball card store. Me, Dee, Eric Weiss and his brother just biking.
Yeah.
Dee gets hit by a car. Oh my God. We just had an earthquake. And we just like picked up and went to the store. Like we didn't.
I got hit by a car by an insurance guy. That was even funnier.
No, but what's funny, like back then, that wasn't that big. We kind of laughed because he was fine.
Yeah.
We're like, that's funny. You got hit by a car.
No, it was even funnier on the way home. Get stopped by a cop for not wearing a helmet.
That's true.
And I go, officer, and I never wore a helmet growing up. I said, officer, look at my shirt. I just got hit by a car. My helmet was destroyed. Go to the trash can on Chatsworth and blah, blah, blah. It's right there.
I mean, if that happened today, the 14-year-old brat's going to get on the phone, call mommy. Mommy's going to race over and just with a bat and try to like beat the shit out of
the police officer.
And you know what we did? We're like, we each got $20 to spend on baseball cards. Pick your ass up. We need to go get baseball cards.
It's so true. It's so true. The kid probably wouldn't even have to call mommy because mommy would be watching. Like you wouldn't be out of, you know, you'd be going up and down your own street. I don't blame any parent for parenting that way. I just, when I think back to my childhood too, it seems insane. You know, like you would just go ride your bike anywhere around the little town. Anything goes. No one checks. You don't have a cell phone.
Yeah. I mean, we would bike to the park when we were like 15 and play basketball at night. Like, is anyone doing that outside?
Hell no. No chance.
At a park, public park.
I wouldn't do that. I'm 35. No, I agree. But, and there is effects. There's real effects, and that interview. I didn't listen to that podcast, but I've listened to a lot of Jonathan Haidt's. I think he was on Rogan a while ago.
Okay.
and the book was really good. But it's a really, really interesting point, and it does feel like it's kind of like it adds. I don't know if it's 100, 90% right. I don't know, but it makes it like it makes it make sense. You read or you listen to those interviews, and you're like, oh yeah, no wonder. Like no wonder we ended up this way, and kids are this way, and everyone's. It's also like why everyone's getting canceled, right? Because people just don't even know how to deal with like thoughts that they don't agree with.
And it's super interesting. A lot of data points, and a lot of data points are from 2012 and 13, where kids started getting sad. Obviously, that coincides with social media, like blowing up. But people were complaining about like in 2012 and 13, young people, like how racist the country is, and Barack Obama was president of the United States at the time.
Yeah, it just seems like we double whammied. We like coddled and then gave everyone social media to just sit and be depressed on because you're not allowed to go ride your bike.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my content's super random. I just started watching the Netflix Formula One show.
Now you're a Formula One guy.
Oh God, golf and Formula One. Those are the two cliche
I'm
COVID
like an old
things.
rich dude. Yep. So I'm a big Formula One guy now, and I'm gonna head to Miami for the race that's coming up. And
are you actually going?
No, but it was a really great show. I mean, I've never understood Formula One at all. I'm not saying I still do. Like, I don't know if I went to a race if I would enjoy it, but the show is so well done. Like the whole season is about. Yeah, the whole season is about last season of racing, and they just do the show so good, and it really comes down to like the last episode. You don't know who's gonna win, and it's like down to watching the last race, and you're like on the edge of your seat because you've been waiting all season. They did.
Why
the
don't you just Google it?
Well. God damn it!
I always do that for shows where I'm watching something. I just I just want to know what's happening. Just tell me how this ends.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that here. It also made me because Ripke was Lewis Hamilton's. I never cared. I was like, whatever, Lewis Hamilton. I don't know what's he do. He's a NASCAR guy. and now I didn't realize Lewis Hamilton is fucking Tiger Woods, LeBron James. like I didn't realize
he never loses. I know nothing about Formula One other than Lewis Hamilton never loses.
I knew he was good, but he's like at the end of or in like a Tiger Woods in his prime type run of just breaking every record and being unbeatable.
And someone's definitely going to fact check me on this, but I've heard or read that like most of the drivers are just rich kids.
I think you have to be almost. I think.
I mean, how else are you going to get into it? I want to race a Ferrari.
Yeah. Like I think the days. What I read is that like
they're like really rich.
Yeah, because I think that there was a day when you could like come up in the go-kart circuit and then you make it to whatever. But like I think it's getting so expensive. There's just no way. There's no way to have the disposable income to go race cars unless your dad's rich. I mean, one of the guys on one of the teams, one of the storylines in the show is that one of the guys' dad who kind of bails out the company financially is like a Russian oligarch. And the deal is that he'll bail out the company financially, but his son has to be one of the drivers, and his son just sucks. And
which team was it?
Williams, I think.
That's the name of the team?
Yeah. I think it was Williams. And like they were pretty much at the end, like we just can't afford it anymore. And this guy bailed him out, but his shitty son has to be one of the drivers.
I think that happens a lot.
Them. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised with that setup. It's all billionaires who are like invested in it,
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
all right,
that's my world now. So if you guys need me, I'll be at the track or the golf course. Okay, that's it.
It.
Great episode. Everyone have a great rest of your week. Have a good weekend. We will see you Sunday.
Bye-bye.